Hello. I'm recording this in my kitchen. Well, it's now my kitchen in front of this 2000s camcorder because I really like the look of it. I'm gonna talk a little bit about cooking and learning how to cook for other people because for a very long time I already knew how to cook for myself at least. I remember just binge watching Iron Chef and Good Eats, and from there just learning how to cook by osmosis and then trying stuff out late at night, cooking myself midnight snacks. Yeah, because during the day, if I try to cook, my mother always comes into the kitchen and she would look at the stuff I'm cooking, and if it involves any of the ingredients that she bought, she gets a little mad. If I bought ingredients, she would ask me, where did you get that? How much? If I would tell her, she would say, "Oh, that's too expensive. Like you should have bought here instead." And then it just discouraged me from wanting to cook for myself. At least in the open. So whenever I would get ingredients, it's usually in the supermarket, and in around this neighborhood, that's kind of frowned upon because, well, I live right across a public market. Like, you would buy stuff there. It's just better. But why would you buy from a supermarket? Why would you buy onions in a supermarket when right there across the street they're being sold right there? Just buy them there. But what's intimidating is my mother would usually put forward that whenever you buy ingredients there in the market, you have to haggle. You have to haggle. If you don't haggle, you're stupid. And the way my mother talks about it, it just dissuaded me from haggling, especially since I became a freelancer. I work as a freelance writer, web designer, graphic designer, etc. Just freelancing just dissuaded me from haggling because you're trying to get paid for your hard work, and in this case, for vendors, their merchandise. All you're getting are customers that think that they're being ripped off, and they want to get as close to free as they can, and so they haggle you down until you're barely making any profit. It's not to say that they're not supposed to be able to do that, but it's hard. Why does my mother's show have to be that loud? She's already watching from inside the bedroom and it's still loud as heck. Anyway, learning to cook, it's actually not that hard. It's just following principles and procedures. You get a set of instructions in a recipe, just follow it. If you burn your food, that's just because you're too anxious. If you don't want to burn your food, just turn the heat lower. That's about it. Of course, in this day and age, it's easier than ever to learn how to cook. Like, everyone cooks now. They would cook and then post their finished product on Instagram. But me being a process-oriented person, it's never about the result for me. Like, yeah, sure, like it's great to be able to eat something delicious at the end of the day, but for me, that's not enough. I want to be able to enjoy the process, and that's what I've been trying to do here in the kitchen, is enjoy it. But there are a few dishes that I did kind of more or less master. Like my fried rice that's because I've been cooking fried rice for years. By the way, don't eat fried rice too much. Like, it's the reason why I stayed fat for like over a decade. It's from eating so much fried rice. I get a lot of practice, but it's not good for you. It's all carbs. I remember back in the day, my earlier experiments, I sucked. I'll put broth cubes in instant noodles. Come on. That's too much sodium. That's way too much sodium. But over time, I started getting it. So cooking now is a little easier. If I don't know the dish, well, I get to learn it. It's easy enough. But there's now the added pressure of having to cook for someone else as well. And for a long time, I couldn't get myself to cook for other people, especially my mother, because back when she was healthier, she was still strong. All she could do was just nag, and criticize whatever I'm doing. Nowadays, she does it a lot less because, number one, she's older. Number two, there are hints that she kind of realized her mistake, especially now after having taken care of her for a month and a half, after her accident. She let the foot off the gas when it comes to criticizing me because, well, at this point, does it even matter anymore? I'm not a kid anymore. But all that pressure, all that added pressure of having to cook something, especially since the threshold of what's salty or what's too hard to chew is so razor thin. It's right up there. Like you want it to taste good, but if you push it a little too far, it's crap. You want to get into that sweet spot where it's not yet crap, and yet it's not too salty for my mother, not too hard to chew for my mother. Like with carrots, for instance, I want to be able to cook the carrots where it's easy enough to chew, but I also don't want it to be like baby food. And from the way my mother describes it, she practically wants it to be baby food, which I protest against absolutely. Right now, as I record this, I'm actually taking a break from cooking pancit canton, or in the West, you would call it chow mein. It's our version of chow mein. And I'm kind of doubting myself right now. Like, I got most of the ingredients processed now. Like, I still have to peel the shrimp. And it's making me doubt myself. Now I understand. Now I understand why in the last few times she ever cooked for me, my mother was just making adobo. She was just making adobo every other day. And I didn't complain. I liked her adobo, but yeah, adobo is both complex and yet also easy enough to learn and cook. So it sits in like a sweet spot of yeah, it's great. It's great. You should cook adobo like at least once every week because it's great. But you cook it a little too much and it makes you doubt yourself. Like, yeah, it is delicious. It's great, but should I be cooking this all the time? My mother did, because that's pretty much what she could cook at that point when she was getting older, getting slower, getting less able to do housework. The pressure comes from being the other person in the house. Like, it's only the two of us. There's no one else. And I would love to have someone to share the responsibility, but also I like being practically alone. The past 6 to 8 weeks has been both educational and also just tiring. I appreciate that I'm being able to cook more because I genuinely love cooking, but I still feel very, very anxious while doing it nowadays because I'm not cooking for just myself anymore. But you know what? Maybe that's what it takes to improve, get better at cooking, as well as everything else in life. You can't just do it for yourself. You gotta have that pressure of having to do it for other people and not wanting to disappoint them. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. I gotta get back to cooking. Anyway, that's all for now. Till next time, stay Tor.